The Patriots fall short late, but I'm actually a little bit encouraged coming out of this game. I'll tell you why here on Patscast. Welcome to Patscast. I'm Brad Whitaker. Good to be with you. The New England Patriots fall 28-22, but had a chance late to win that game. 2-minute drive with Drake Maye. He ultimately throws a pick down the middle of the field intended for Demario Douglas to clinch the game for the Los Angeles Rams. Hard to tell if that was Demario Douglas's fault. He wasn't even looking back at the football when Maye threw that pick. Maye was under pressure, had to get rid of it. A lot of people blaming Douglas for that play. Some people blaming Maye a little bit. I think it's a little bit on both. Douglas was trying to split the safeties, had a chance to get wide open for a potential touchdown, but Maye was under pressure, had to get rid of it. So I think Demario Douglas wasn't looking back for a reason. I think they're both at fault a little bit there. But the Patriots looked like they were going to lose in a blowout. They were down 28-13 at one point in this game. Made some key stops late in the game. Made a key stop late in the first half. Tried to stay with it. Sean McVay, clearly the smartest coach on the field out there. But ultimately the Patriots looked resilient, but they fell to the Rams. Overall, though, I think this might have been Drake Maye's best game, and the statistics might not show that. I know he had the late pick. He had the strip sack, which he probably should have held on to with the blindside tackle there. But overall, this was the game where it really felt like Drake Maye was in full command of the offense, trying to get players in the right position to make the correct blocks, even before running plays. Drake Maye was really in it. He seems to look like a real veteran out there. And when you look at the way Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels have played the last 3 weeks or so, I think the Patriots, I know it's super early, but they may have gotten the best quarterback in the draft. And yeah, Maye still makes some risky decisions out there, a lot of turnovers. We knew that was going to come with him. Hopefully he can continue to improve on that. Looked like he wasn't going to have an interception today, and I don't blame him for taking a deep shot late, similar to the Tennessee game in overtime. But ultimately, Drake Maye finished 30 of 40 passing, 282 yards total. I think a lot of that did come on the ground. Had 27 yards on 3 carries on the ground, but did give up 3 sacks for 25 yards. Had a passer rating just north of 100, whereas Matthew Stafford had a near-perfect game, almost 300 yards, 18 of 27, had 4 touchdown throws, and a 143 passer rating. So that really had to do with the defense not getting a lot of pressure on the Rams mostly. A lot of questionable defensive decisions by the Patriots coaching staff, but I'll get to that in just a minute. Let's focus on the offense first. Like I said, Drake Maye really looks like a real leader out there, in command of the offense, doing a lot more pre-snap than we saw any other time this season. He's really growing into his own and does not look like a rookie out there. So that was great to see. Overall, the play calling was a bit mixed. I'm very happy with Alex Van Pelt the last few weeks with his play calling early in the game, in the first quarter, even a little bit into the second quarter. But then when we got down into crunch time a little bit, I know the Patriots want to mix it up between the run and the pass, but they're just running the football too much in crucial, 2-minute drive situations, handing it off to Ramondre. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I did like how Drake Maye was lining up under center and they were utilizing play action and keeping the Rams defense off balance early in the game. But then when you get away from those early scripted plays, which I think Alex Van Pelt designs early in the game, and he just has to pick plays in his toolkit late in the game, it's just back to the sort of hand it off on first down, make Drake Maye make a big play on second down or third down to keep the drive alive. And thank goodness the Patriots have Drake Maye, because there were times where they ran it on first down, got stuffed for 3 yards, and then Drake Maye would make a big play with his legs or a big throw downfield to Douglas or Henry or one of those guys for like 15 yards, and they'd get the first down. They got to stop running it on first down, at least predictably. I thought Alex Van Pelt, very unpredictable with his play calling early in the game, and I really like to see that. But when it gets down to the third and fourth quarter, late in the first half, and Alex Van Pelt isn't really going off of an early game script, that's where the offense continues to struggle, and I would like to see him get a little bit more creative with the play calling, not utilizing motion enough. He doesn't love motion for some reason, other than those, running Demario Douglas in the back and all of that crap, which doesn't even work, doesn't really work on the defenses that they're facing. But I do think the play calling is ultimately getting a little bit better. I think the offense has been fun to watch the last few weeks, even though they've lost some games. That's why we're tuning in, right? I mean, this is the most exciting offense we've seen in New England, even with Alex Van Pelt's predictable play calling late in the game, that we've seen since Tom Brady. But Patriots, Drake Maye had a good game despite being under pressure quite a bit. Patriots were able to run the ball a little bit better. They had 98 yards on the ground outside of Drake Maye, so 98 yards on run design plays. But the offensive line really struggled. I think the run blocking has improved the last few weeks, but the pass blocking has gotten dramatically worse, to be honest. Demontre Jacobs, really, he's been pretty good the last few weeks, but he struggled today, led the team in pressures. Michael Jordan looked like he'd be injured and was going to miss the rest of the game at one point, but he came back in. I don't know why Sidy So's not back out there. I mean, Sidy So, something's going on with him. I know he didn't look great the last time he played, but I think you got to mix it up a little bit and put So back in there, because Michael Jordan has been by far their worst pass blocker and their worst run blocker potentially over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Vidarian Lowe struggled at times. Ben Brown and Michael Jordan, that combination, not really doing a great job on those cutbacks and end arounds and things where the Rams were getting very creative defensively. That's where they were able to get a ton of pressure on Drake Maye. And I think Ben Brown has done a pretty good job considering at center, but the snaps are still low. I think he's working better with Drake Maye. There aren't a lot of those pre-snap penalties between the two of them. There are still a few. So I think ultimately they've been able to salvage things with Ben Brown, but you really do miss having David Andrews out there. Big games receiving-wise, though, for Kendrick Bourne. Led the team in yards, 5 catches for 70 yards, had a lot of great plays, yards after catch. Hunter Henry, staying consistent, 6 catches for 63 yards. Demario Douglas, 5 catches for 59 yards. And that was the most of the Patriots offense, at least in the passing game, came from those 3 players. But overall, Jalen Polk has just been an absolute disaster. He wasn't even targeted once today, despite being on the field quite a bit. He actually has, since October 1st, more penalties than he has catches. Don't know what's going on with Jalen Polk. Don't really know what's going on with Javon Baker either. I mean, not getting a ton of offensive snaps. He was kick returning, had a big return the first play of the game, but I think he tried to hurdle a player, and then we didn't see him back out there. So he may be in the doghouse. Booty had a couple of drops too. Kayshon Booty has a lot of trouble with those high point catches. He's very great when you're throwing it low or you're throwing it right to his chest, but when he has to make a play on those slants up the middle, which he's very good at, and it sails a little bit high, he just cannot make those catches, and he needs to improve there. But like I said, the offensive game overall is fun to watch. Drake Maye makes a massive difference, and it was really encouraging seeing Maye in that offense keep the team in the game, having a chance to win. I know they were bailed out by a personal foul and a face mask penalty late in that fourth quarter, but overall, the offense is looking better. I think Alex Van Pelt, want to see him get more creative, but he's been improving as a play caller, especially in those early scripted plays. Drake Maye continues to come into his own. Very happy with Henry. Great to see Bourne have a big game finally. Demario Douglas continues to be the bread and butter slot receiver out there. Need Booty to make some catches. Jalen Polk has to get involved. Jaheim Bell had a bad drop, but I'd like to see him get a little bit more involved instead of them just going to Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Hooper had a decent game, 4 catches, 35 yards on 4 targets. So overall, I think the offense, it's hard to not feel good about where they are. And if they can add another weapon to that offense in the offseason and another offensive lineman, hopefully at the tackle position, I think this offense could be one of the better offenses in the NFL, believe it or not, especially with Drake Maye coming into year 2. And look, Maye didn't really have to depend on his legs that much. He's not scrambling as much as we've seen him. And you would have thought he'd scramble a lot in this game with the type of pressure he was facing, but really only carried the ball for 3 times today. So Drake Maye definitely showing some maturity. Still has to limit the turnovers, but overall, very happy. I don't think any of us expected Drake Maye to look this good this early on. I mean, you have to remember, he's only started like 6 games so far this season. So, he already looks like the better quarterback compared to Caleb Williams and even Jaden Daniels, who's really come back to earth the last 4 weeks. Defensively, that's where this game was a little bit disappointing. Christian Gonzalez, for whatever reason, I don't know if this was a Gerard Mayo decision. I don't know if this was a DeMarcus Covington decision. He didn't shadow Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua the entire game. He just stayed on the boundary. So what did the Rams do? They made sure that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were not on the boundary, and that's how both of those guys were able to have incredible games. Nacua, 123 yards on 7 catches, had a touchdown. I faced him in fantasy, probably going to lose this week because of Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp had over 100 yards on 6 catches, 10 targets from him. And then, they had contributions from Atwell, Parkinson, DeMarcus Robinson, Blake Corum was a contributor in the passing game. Ultimately, I think the Patriots DBs are pretty good, but they're pretty good because you have Christian Gonzalez out there who can take away your best receiver, and for whatever reason, the Patriots chose not to do that with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, and neither of those guys are really burners either. I guess Cooper Kupp can be, but you want a guy like Gonzalez on Puka or Cooper and limit those guys to 50 to 60 yards and then give your defense a bit of a chance. And again, I don't know if this was Gerard Mayo or DeMarcus Covington, but that was a terrible decision. You gotta put Christian Gonzalez. You either put him on your best receiver, try to take him out of the game, or you put him on your second best receiver and then you double the other team's best receiver. That's what the Patriots defense did forever with Bill Belichick, and they need to go back to that game plan. And they were kind of doing that game plan up until this week, so no idea what was going on there with the defensive coaching and why they chose to do that with Christian Gonzalez. The run defense, bit of a mixed bag. They struggled quite a bit in the second and third quarter, but they made key stops early in the game, which gave the Patriots an early lead. And of course, they made a lot of key stops late in the game, which set them up with a chance to win the game. So I'm not going to be that disappointed in the Patriots run defense. They still gave up 107 yards on the ground, but that's at least containing the run game, right? We're not seeing these 150, 160 yard rushing games the last few weeks, and that's a big improvement. Credit to Sean McVay, really getting creative on the offensive side of the football. Understood that the Patriots' run defense has struggled of late, and that's how the Rams were really able to chew into the Patriots and score all 28 of their points in the second and third quarter, because they ran the ball, but they mixed it up with some throws to the side, some deep throws up the middle, utilizing that new school West Coast offense that Sean McVay is perhaps the best in the league at running next to Kyle Shanahan, but really making the defense move side to side, running that wide zone, and then opening up off of play action, some deep throws up the middle. And that's how the Rams were able to get all of their points. But also, look, I've been critical of Gerard Mayo and DeMarcus Covington, and certainly have been on this podcast. No idea with what they were doing with Christian Gonzalez, but they made the stops that they needed to early in the game and late in the game. So I do think the defense is getting better, but what was a pretty rough game overall for Jonathan Jones. I know he had a big third down breakup that did set up the offense late in the game, but he ultimately gave up 2 touchdowns, was burned on, I think, the second play of the third quarter after halftime, that set up a deep throw to Cooper Kupp. I think if you subtract that throw, Cooper Kupp didn't really have a great game, but, he had 2 touchdowns, and you can't be giving up deep bombs like that. And the defensive backs have been doing a good job at preventing those deep throws all season long. But when you have Christian Gonzalez guarding the boundary, and then you're forcing Marcus Jones and Jonathan Jones to do everything by themselves against Nacua and Cooper Kupp, it's not going to work out. I love Marcus Jones. They played him a little on offense today on a run design play. I'd love to see him do that a little bit more. But, as great as Jones is, these are big physical receivers. Even Cooper Kupp, who's on the smaller end, still gets a lot of yards after catch, uses his body. You can't have Marcus Jones guarding those guys by himself all game long. And ultimately, I think that's why the Patriots did lose this game. Good to see Christian Barmore back out there. I was stunned that he was back this early. I thought this would be like at least 2 to 3 weeks before we saw Barmore. Did look a little gingerly out there, but for the most part had a pretty good game. He had 3 tackles, some big tackles at certain points. So great job there by Christian Barmore. But overall, the Patriots defense has not been able to generate pressure on the quarterback over these last few weeks. And that's been their biggest struggle. And even the blitz calls by DeMarcus Covington, I mean, he called a blitz on 2nd and 9, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And that was when Cooper Kupp had that big touchdown pass, sent Christian Gonzalez in on some safety blitzes. His blitzing is very predictable on 3rd down. They're just not able to get to the quarterback. Yeah, they had some pressures. Don't get me wrong. They had some pressures today, but you got to get at least some sacks. 0 sacks on Matthew Stafford today, who really just had a pretty easy game for the most part. Let's see. They carried the ball 24 times. They threw the ball 27 times. So a pretty balanced attack for the Rams. I again, give credit to the Patriots' run defense when it looked like the Rams were just going to do what teams have done all season long and just run it all game. They stopped them from doing that when they weren't able to get some of those big gains that they were getting in the 2nd and 3rd quarter. But overall, you got to be able to get to the quarterback, and that's why you have Christian Barmore back out there. That's why you had Matthew Judon these last few years, and that's another hole they're going to need to fill this offseason. And hopefully having Juwan Bentley back will help a lot, but you need an offensive tackle, you need a wide receiver, and you need an edge rusher. And in the draft, you're probably only going to get 2 out of 3 of those things in the early rounds that are actually going to be impactful. So hopefully Elliott Wolf can fill some of those positions in the offseason to make it a little bit easier on him in the draft. But look, when all is said and done, I'm actually encouraged by this game. Not very encouraged by the defensive coaching, but very encouraged by the defensive resiliency. Offensively, Alex Van Pelt, still some questionable play calling, but he's getting significantly better as a play caller. Drake Maye, still improving as a quarterback. Like I said, I think this was his best game, even if the statistics don't show it. Don't blame him entirely for that late game interception, but what I said going into this game, look, you want a blowout victory in Chicago with a coaching staff, with a culture there that is just completely falling apart. You beat the Jets. They were falling apart. You beat the Bengals. They were not ready to go week 1. What can you do against a team that's coached by Sean McVay, who, if all the teams in the NFL had to fill out their head coaching position, it would probably go Andy Reid, then Sean McVay, then Kyle Shanahan. So the fact that they were able to make this a 6-point game and have a chance to win it late against a Sean McVay-led team, against a team that is fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, this was a must-win game for the Rams. I know they were coming off of a short week, so that certainly helped the Patriots, but they kept it within a 1-possession game against Sean McVay, and I think that is encouraging for Jerod Mayo and this coaching staff going forward. I'm not ready to fire any of these coaches yet, even though I might have been ready a couple of weeks ago. I think we're still seeing a lot of improvements. Biggest thing is the baffling decision not to have Christian Gonzalez shadow one of their 2 best receivers. Don't know why they didn't do that. I think that was the worst thing coming out of this game. But overall, defense was bend but not break. They didn't break in the 4th quarter, gave Drake Maye in that offense a shot to win the game. And had Douglas looked back, or had that been incomplete, who knows? Maybe we'd be talking about a Patriots victory right now. But look, we knew this team, like I've said many times, they're not going to make the postseason this year. So a loss, that's a close game. I know there's no moral victories, but it's not the end of the world. Going to help the Patriots draft position. I just want to see this team get better, get more resilient. I want to see the coaching staff get better, most importantly. All of these guys are essentially rookies at their position. Even Alex Van Pelt is a rookie play caller as an offensive coordinator. We got to see this coaching staff get better, and I think they are still slowly improving week after week, and that's encouraging going forward. Give these guys an offseason to learn from their mistakes. And unless things just truly fall apart, I think we're going to see all 3 guys back. Jerod Mayo, certainly, Alex Van Pelt, and DeMarcus Covington. And that's not the end of the world if they continue to look better week after week. So that's the silver lining from this game. Patriots still have 2 very winnable games coming up next week on the road against the Dolphins. That's going to be a tough one, but they still have a shot to win that game. And then, of course, against the Colts at home the week after, before they hit the bye week and go on the road against a tough Arizona Cardinals team. So there's still some opportunities to get some wins here, surpass that 4-win mark from last year, and really feel encouraged about this team. But I'm happy where the Patriots are at, in all honesty, and the fact that they were still in this game is a testament to Drake Maye, to this coaching staff, to the resiliency of this team, and the fact that they're not giving up when things are starting to look pretty bleak, like they did when they were down 28-13. So I think the Patriots and the coaches deserve a lot of credit for that. Still a lot they're going to need to improve on, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and I think a good offseason, a lot of pressure on Elliott Wolf. He needs to make it happen, but this team could be pretty good next year if they make the right moves and the coaches continue to improve. And I'm not even worried about Drake Maye at this point. This is one of those things where, when he heads into his sophomore year, teams get more tape on him. So how is he going to deal with that? But teams are putting spies on him now. They're trying to stop him from running. They're trying to exploit his weaknesses more and more week after week, and Maye continues to improve. So that's great to see from a rookie quarterback. So look, it's exciting time still to be a Patriots fan. We know this is not a playoff team, but it's going to be fun to watch and see if this team continues to improve, and it's going to be a very fun offseason. You're going to want to tune into Pat's Cast for all the coverage along the way. If you like this video and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, or subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll see you throughout the week. Greatness